Well, I'm going to say hello, happy Monday, happy week of giving thanks luncheons. I'm about ready to eat a lot of turkey and my favorite pernil. So delicious. That will be courtesy of Janelli Calderon and her amazing staff at her awesome grocery stores. Don't ask me what they're called because I never remember because they have different names, but they are awesome. If you had them last year, they're incredible. They were so good. I buy them also for my family after when they're for the day after Thanksgiving. Black Friday, we needed some food and you don't want turkey again. So, and I don't want to cook. So, yeah, they're great. So we will have here and at Lake Nona and probably in Ocala too, turkey and pernil and everything else you guys are bringing. So that'll be great. Look forward to it. Be here or be square. But also just so you know, apparently it's going to be or potentially very rainy on Wednesday. I think this tropical whatever depression, or if it is a tropical depression, nobody really knows, but it looks like it may get really rainy here on Wednesday. But we still, come rain or shine, we'll be having a wonderful Thanksgiving celebration from 12 to 2. The food will be delicious and the camaraderie will be even better. We will have wonderful champagne and wine and all sorts of goodies flowing. So please come one, come all. And that will be in Dr. Phillips on Thursday from 12 to 2 in Lake Nona and on Friday from 12 to 2 in Ocala. As if you're part of my team, that means you're part of every office. So you can come to one, you can come to all. Happy to have you at any one of them. So just let me know or don't, just show up. I don't care. But we're hoping to have you at least one of our Thanksgiving celebrations, if not all. So that would be great. I've actually had years where I've had people at all three celebrations, which has been exciting. So please feel free to be that person. So anyway, today we're going to be doing stats, and more stats. It was a request by, oh, maybe Lewis asked that. I don't remember who requested this training. But what I want to say is before we jump in and get started on our training, I am going to be preparing my training calendar for next year. So I'd love for everybody to send me some of your requests so I can start building my training calendar for January. Not that I won't be training in December, but as we all know, it gets a little bit crazy for the rest of the year during the holidays. Also, we are looking at setting up the Christmas party. It will probably be maybe the second week of December, the Tuesday or Wednesday, or possibly into the third week, which would be the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But once I have that confirmed, we are still narrowing down locations. Once that is confirmed, I will certainly let you know. And that way we can certainly make sure that you can come, but it will be wonderful. I'm sure of that. So that's to be confirmed. And additionally, wanted to let you know to remind you that the office closes 2 p.m. next Wednesday, early for the day before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving closed and Black Friday closed. Very exciting. So that doesn't mean that we are, obviously you might still be out there, selling homes. We love that, but we do close in celebration of this wonderful holiday that we're about to celebrate. So we're very excited about that. And if you haven't had a chance to get in with me for your business planning, I've been business planning fast and furious, but I know there's still many of you who have not had that opportunity. So please get on my calendar so we can do that because it is something that we want to make sure you start the year strong. Okay. Also, we have started our real estate review extravaganza once again, and we have new materials out. So what is that, Carrie? Well, if you're not a ninja, you probably don't know. If you are a ninja, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but it's a way to grow your listing business. It's a way to get in front of people in a very relaxed way and just share what's happening in the market. So we have some beautiful new materials, and guess what? Claire is going to be doing training every other Thursday in Lake Nona in person, and you can join her in person and on Zoom. Some days she may not be on Zoom because it will be in the media center for social media. Social media is back. Woo! So that is going to be happening, and I'm waiting for Claire to give me her calendar so we'll know exactly what she'll be doing. But because my calendar got a little crazy with my leadership stuff, it was very difficult for me to plan that. So I will be there when I can or jump in when I will. but there will be trainings now every other Thursday with Claire for sure. So, and that is in Lake Nona, like I said, or on Zoom, we will let you know, but that will be going out as well. So something to look forward to. It's very exciting. All right, without further ado, we're going to chat a little bit about stats. Now, again, what this training is about, what I was requested, and we can take it any turn you want. People ask me, Carrie, what stats do you look at? You know, when you're trying to do different things, there are different stats I look at, but there's important things that I like to look at factors of. You know, there's a lot of stats. What we don't need is numbers, right? Numbers are everywhere. It's what numbers are important and how to discern to be able to break them down and talk about them in a conversation so it makes it sound, I mean, hopefully you have it right, but not just sound, that you have a grip on what's going on with the market. The idea is, guys, we need to be the market experts. Now, you don't have to be the expert of the entire market, but you need to be the expert of your niche, okay? So, Keith, you're obviously the expert of the villages and soon to be hopefully Lake Nona as well. Now, Felix, where's your niche?
Hamlet.
Hamlin. Okay, so that would be Winter Garden. But now, if you're the expert of Winter Garden, you're a little challenged because you have to also know about new construction. So your stats are not only going to be what's on the MLS, you have to do also some stats. You need to be up on what's happening with the builders. You need to know what builder inventory is out there. You need to know what the incentives are. You need to know who has what left. You need to know what's pacing. Does everybody know when I say what's pacing means? No. Thank you for saying that, Linda. So when you walk into a builder, okay, and you say, how many homes have you sold this month? They're going to say, oh, we sold 20. They're lying. Okay. They are trained to lie. That is a total bald-faced lie. You need to make friends with an on-site representative. I'd say be friendly with all of them, make a good friend out of one of them. Bring them coffee, get to know them. You need to have the real inside scoop. They're not selling 25 a month. That's not true. They're never going to get 25 releases in a month. You know, the reality is, are they selling 5? If they're selling 10, that's great. Are they even getting 10 releases? I don't even know. So you need to know, how many releases are you guys getting? Now, what is a release? Well, who owns the land? Okay. So for example, if you're in Lake Nona, guess who owns all that land? Anybody know?
Tavistock.
Tavistock. Exactly. Do we like them? No. But we got to deal with them. So what happens is they are the one who owns the land. They're not necessarily the developer. Sometimes they are. Sometimes they actually have it developed by another company, but they're the JV, but they're the owners, right? So what happens is they'll give you a ready to build lot. So that's what happens when the builders get allowed to have so many lots. They're called lot takedowns. So you're going to have maybe 5 lots, 10 lots in this month, 5 lots in this month, 5 lots on the lake, this many. That's what that's called, a lot takedown. So Tavistock controls which lots to which builders that they'll allow them to take them down. That's what they call it. It's called a lot takedown. Okay. And so in that instance, I'm going to share with you, this is how it works with Tavistock. We had a situation where there was a builder who was a custom builder. He would received these lake lots for his lot takedowns. He sold them pre-construction. We know because we had the customers who bought them. And then guess what happened? They were delayed and delayed and delayed. We couldn't build on them because we had to be able to get the rights to do so. And guess what happened? They took them back. There's not supposed to be takebacks in a lot takedown, but Tavistock did. So this is the challenge when you're dealing with a developer or an owner of land when you don't own it in a lot takedown situation. That can happen. Love you. Not until closing, not in a lot. It depends on the situation, but not with Tavistock. Tavistock retains rights. So in a lot of places, lot takedowns, they may close
Playing
on.
from desktop LJ2 safe.
That was special. I'm not sure who's talking to us now. But so a lot of places, they may have a closing on the land and then, but you're not going to start building on the land until you get it, right? There's going to usually be some kinds of, obviously constraints that you're not going to start building on land until you get the actual lot takedown. But Tavistock has done takebacks. Yes, they have. Yeah. I'm not seeing that with most places. Summer Lake, anybody familiar with Summer Lake? We were just talking about the Hamlin. That was a huge lot takedown situation. There were no takebacks, but what there was delays upon delays upon delays because of the infrastructure. They said it was the fiber optics. I call BS, but whatever. Because Centerline was the first builder in there and we pulled out. We ended up being the third or fourth builder back in there. But yeah, so sometimes when there's a huge development like that, and there's somebody who's going in there and doing all the infrastructure, they're the ones who would usually be the ones giving the lot takedowns. Okay. Now, if it's a community where the developer owns all the land and then they're going to be doing releases, there's no lot takedowns in essence because they own it. But in a certain way there is, because oftentimes they have a mortgage on the whole property. It's called a blanket mortgage. And then what they have to do is they have to release certain lots out of the mortgage. So they do certain lot releases. And I'm going to tell you, in a new build construction, you never release the best lots first. So from a builder side, we release the dogs first. Sorry, that's what we call it. And the reason we do that is because if you release your best lots first, you're going to be stuck trying to sell the worst lots at the end. You'll never sell them and you'll lose a lot of money, because the other problem is you want to be able to increase your cost of the homes in phases as you go with the releases. Well, if you've sold out all your good stuff in the beginning, how are you going to do that? You can't. So you've got to be really strategic how you release your lots. The other way you're going to doing lot releases is if you have a mixed type of product. If you have towns, if you have 40s, 50s, 65s, that's the width of the homes, but also oftentimes comes with the type of product we put. Are they estate homes? Are they the regular, we call it different things. And what does that mean? If it's an estate series, we're going to usually give better included features, right? So maybe we're going to have all the stainless package in the estates, and we're going to have the quartz included everywhere. Maybe we only include the quartz in the kitchens, but not in the bathrooms on the regular, which maybe we call that the ranch lots or something, right? Like we're going to call it something else. Oftentimes funny, you get a lot of these names from paint colors, just so you know. It's very interesting. Same with the road names. So that's how it works in new construction. So if you're in an area where there's a lot of new construction, you have to be very aware of that. So if they're telling you, oh yeah, I love this. Who was I talking to the other day? They told me how to wait list of 3,000 people. I call BS. And what does a wait list really mean, guys? Nothing. It means nothing. Can I tell you a little story? Windermere, back in the day before the crash. There was no so does everybody know in Windermere, they have obviously Horizon West, which is part of Windermere and Winter Garden, right? And that was a very well-planned area with different hamlets. And part of that was how it was planned in terms of a live-work community where they knew where the homes were going to be, the type of homes. It was supposed to have interconnectivity, no gates. It was supposed to allow for this really wonderful kind of active lifestyle where they knew where they were going to have different types of shopping and restaurants throughout the community. Was pre-planned. You know what they weren't going to have? Apartments. There were no apartments allowed in Windermere. Does anybody know if there's apartments in Windermere right now? We got a lot of them. Okay, they're nice, but we got a lot of them, right? Does anybody know how we have them? Here's the funny story, okay? So what happened was there was Lakeside, owned by Ashton Woods. Ashton Woods, by the way, owned almost all of Windermere before the crash. And so Lakeside was going to be condominiums. I believe 7 or 8 buildings. They had supposedly a wait list. It was at almost 3,000 people, their wait list. And they had sold maybe 12. I think 12 people closed. It was some low number. And, you know, you could buy a 3-bedroom for almost 400,000 condo. Okay. So what ended up happening was the market turned and they couldn't sell them at all. And the wait list went away. And those poor homeowners couldn't sell because you couldn't get a loan in the building because there's a strict thing about getting a financing when there's not enough home ownership in the building, right? So that was a problem. And so their homeowners kept coming into my community of Preston Square wanting to buy a home because you could buy a single family home for what they paid and a bigger one. But they couldn't sell because nobody would buy and nobody could buy unless they bought cash. And who's going to buy in a building that's empty, right? So what ended up happening was the developer built them all and the developer rented them out. Thus was born apartments, which became the back door for allowing apartments in Windermere. That's what happened. And that's how they suddenly were allowed to have apartments in Windermere. So that's interesting. So this is the thing, guys, you got to understand if you're the expert in an area, this is the kind of information you need to know. All right. It's understanding more than just stats. It's understanding the background of how the area grew, how the area is being developed, how the area. So when you're doing Hamlin, you need to understand that that whole Avalon Park to the left is supposed to be bigger than Winter Garden Village. Where is it? Okay. Lake Nona was saying for years about the whole medical city. It's growing, but I'm going to tell you, you were supposed to have the shopping experience of the century where you could go on your phone, pick which ones you want, your clothes and all that, and come in. It was waiting for you. Where's that? Where's the shopping store to do that? That has still not happened. So this is the thing, guys. It's understanding lifestyle. We sell lifestyle, but we also have to understand Neo City. I love what they're talking about Neo City, but I haven't seen a lot of the things that they're planning for Neo City coming to fruition. So you need to be on the forefront of what they're talking about, but also see what's really happening as well, because we also have to be careful of what we promise. Does that make sense? Okay. So there's a couple things. Does everybody know Growth Spotter? Growth Spotter is a great publication that tells you about the new things coming first. That is a really good insider information piece. So I love Growth Spotter. Obviously, we already know about, you know, the Inmans and all that kind of thing, but I think Growth Spotter, especially for our area, is one of the best things to be able to get on. So anybody who wants to share about that. So these are things, if you're going to look at stats, no more, and the economic, the economic partnership, the Orlando Economic Partnership, you want to be on their website. They talk about what's happening, what's coming, what's changing. That is a fabulous, we knew what companies were coming here before they came. So that told us what's changing in the economic patterns of our city, right? And based upon what kind of economic growth is happening here, also changes what? The price point, right? That is a great thing. Guys, our price point is up this year. So far, we're over 775,000. That's huge. That is huge. That is what's keeping our market still going. That is a fabulous thing. Actually, I have my numbers right here. Take a peek at this. Let me tell you this. Can I pull it up real quick? Is the question. Let me see here. Why can I not just see my photos? Why is it that you can't see your regular? Okay, here we go. All right, let me just tell you from my last meeting. I'll cancel.
Growth Spotter is a paid service.
Yeah,
Cheap.
yeah, it is a paid service, but it is fabulous. You can have one. I don't know. I can't go back in my pictures. All right, let me just tell you one thing here. Good Lord. Of course, I'm not gonna be able to find it. Okay, well, maybe I'll send it out, but I have far too many pictures on here. I took pictures at my last meeting. Am I there yet? Am I there yet? Oh God, never mind. This is gonna be forever. Oh, there it is. Here it is. Okay, here we go. Central Florida. So for the last quarter, we have gone up. Our average sales price is $779,000, guys, compared to last year. That is an increase. So we have gone up. Can you imagine that? 779,000. Where do you think that happened from? That is the change. And imagine 2 years ago, it was 558,000. That's a $200,000 increase in our average sales price here in Orlando. That's pretty incredible. So these are the things like the economic development partnership. They're really bringing in what has changed. Health, the health sector has grown tremendously here. We know that like the space industry has totally grown here, right? So these are the things you need to be on top of. So when you're doing your area, it's more than just numbers. You need to understand we do lifestyle, but lifestyle is more than just the area. We don't live in Naples where people just come here because they're wealthy and they just want to have a place to stay. People come here to live, to work, and to play, right? So you have to understand the makeup of where they may work, where they may play, and what may be the driving factor of their income. That is the most important thing, right? So everybody clear on that. Now, I'm going to share my screen and we're going to jump on into Propel because Propel gives us some great data that you all should be using. I think every one of you should be definitely having set up your market reports. Has everyone done this? Okay. Nobody said yes. Has anybody done this? Thank you, Flavia. You guys have? You have it set up for which zip codes?
I have one for 32827, 32163, 32163.
Now you guys have the same problem as not a problem. I'm going to call it a challenge as Felix because builder inventory. You have builder inventory, which comes in a different place, right? So you kind of have to look in two places. So here is Felix for you, Winter Garden. Now, what I love about looking in this spot is let's look at what would be important here, guys. And this is what's really what I want you to take a look at. It gives you lots of data, right? But for me, this is what you got to look at. New listings. What does that tell us? It tells us the health of how people feel and confidence about putting their home on the market. That's really what the new listings are about. Do people feel confident about selling their home? Or people moving? People always have to move here, right? We do have people moving for jobs. We do have people moving for life. But really, many of our listings have been, I'd say, significantly down before because they didn't have the confidence in selling their home because interest rates were so high. But I would have to say in Winter Garden, I am confident. I feel really good that year to date, the new listings are up. Do you know why, Felix?
Availability.
We have some more availability, but we don't know where they're going. Where are the people going? See, that's the other thing you guys would think about too, guys.
North Carolina.
You think they're going to North Carolina?
Yes.
They could be, but we have a lot of people that move from one location to another, especially in Winter Garden, which is interesting. They might have bought they are moving from one new construction to another new construction. Exactly. So they bought in that DR Horton community. God help us. What was that called over there? I can't think of it. The DR Horton community right in Hamlin. It's called, which God knows how those prices have really climbed for a DR Horton community. I want to cry. I can't believe it. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. But they can sell it and then move to the Toll community, which you never could believe that could have happened. And even still, with all the construction, because there's still a lot of construction in Winter Garden, it's very surprising to me that the average sold price is still up. The average sales price in Winter Garden is 720. Guys, the average sales price just 2 years ago in Winter Garden was about 450. That's incredible. Now, keep in mind, what's driving this is really the Hamlin area. It's not north of 50, let's be honest, okay? So that's pretty impressive. You know, days of market are up, but not significant. Yeah, they say 66%, but 15 compared 25 compared to 15, that's not. 25 days on market, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to say that. And your median is 649, but again, I like the average personally. So I'm just going to say that is pretty significant. And when you say the amount of sold listings are up, that means that they're not really just sitting on the market. So if you have the sold listings up, they're selling and they're moving. The other thing that's interesting, the list sold ratio. Does everybody know what that is?
That properties are actually selling after they list.
No, the list sold, thank you for playing. The list sold ratio is the price that you listed it at and the price you sold it at. What's the differential? So how greedy was the seller and how much did they actually get it for? I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but that's really kind of what it is. So that's the difference. So it's down, which is not bad. Look at that. So year to date, it's 98% of what they listed it for, it's sold for. That's pretty impressive.
It is, the villages were.
97 in the villages. Well, I think that's pretty impressive. 98% year to date. So that is what Winter Garden looks like, and that's pretty good. Who else wants to take a look at, let's take a look at Ocala. Now, Ocala is a totally different beast. Actually, I don't really want to look at Ocala because Ocala is so crazy different price points. Let's look at Lake Nona for a second. Now, Lake Nona, you have to break up because you have 2 zip codes and they do the market report by zip code. So if you're going to talk to Lake Nona, you're really going to talk more neighborhood specific. And the neighborhood is, what side of the road is it on? If you think about Narcoossee Road, it splits 32827 from 32832, right? So it's very interesting. So 32827, which has got the same side as Lake Nona Golf and Country Club, right? That side of the road, they have not had that many new listings. Look at that. They're down year over year, 3% down. So they've only had 36 new listings in October. That's kind of crazy, right? Now, it's kind of interesting. They only sold 24. So that means there's stuff sitting on the market, right? That's what it's telling us. So even the things are selling, they're sitting on the market. Now, what does that also show us? Well, look at that in October. That's a really nice average sold price. So something good sold, probably Lake Nona Golf and Country Club. So for the year, though, your average sales price is up 4.6%. Now, this incorporates Loria Park. It incorporates Lake Nona Golf and Country Club. It's the whole left side, right? So I would say it probably gets skewed more from Lake Nona Golf and Country Club. So if you really want to see on that side, I would go to MLS to see by community because I really feel like the Lake Nona Golf and Country Club skews it. Okay, that's my opinion. So if I'm really trying to get a stat for an area, on that side of town, I'm probably going to pull out for the 32827. I'm probably going to go to MLS to pull these numbers because I feel like when you have one community in Lake Nona, there's one community truly that is luxury. It's like in Windermere, we have so many luxury communities that you can't say one community skews it. It's like a lot of communities here. But same thing with Dr. Phillips, right? But in Lake Nona, there's really only one community with so many over the $2 and $3 million home mark. You know, you have in Loria Park a lot of $1 million homes, which is shocking, but true now. But you don't have a lot over the 2, 3, 4 million. And that is Lake Nona Golf and Country Club. So when you do have one community with that, I feel like it does skew your numbers. So if it were me to get a better feel of that area, I probably would exclude that community. Does that make sense? So you could map it out. You could go by community. Mhm.
I think, sales are gonna go,
Do I feel the sales are going to go up? What part of town?
anyway. I mean, in general, because what we're seeing is that people have been
So
hesitant to buy because of the election, interest rates are hurting. And so I've seen that in the villages, sales are down quite a bit over last year.
So Keith has asked, do I think that sales are going to go up? He feels like now that the election's over, hurricanes are almost over, right? Interest rates have been crazy. He says in the villages, sales have been really down. Guys, sales have been down about 40% in Orlando, greater Orlando, but you haven't seen that yet in our markets, right? Winter Garden has been up. We're going to see our other markets. I'm going to say this. Yes, I think sales are definitely going to go up.
Mhm.
Do I think the average sales price is going to continue to climb? That's a different question,
Yeah,
right? Because the answer to that, I think, is going to be area specific. And like, if you ask me in Lake Nona, I'm going to say probably not. I think it's already been overpriced.
it's also gonna mean how many people come in and wanna buy.
Exactly. Well, I think if we get more inventory in the ground, it's going to do one thing. It's going to give us a lot more opportunity, but we have the buyers. I think the buyers are going to be willing to buy, but I don't think it's going to create a seller's market. I think it's going to be more of a balanced market. So I don't think it's going to create it personally. I don't think it's going to create a big increase in prices. And anything, I think in some markets, we may see a little dip in prices, which I don't think is a bad thing. Like Lake Nona does need to get a little bit of a realistic, like some of those things in Loria Park were ridiculous. And that's why they've been sitting too. So I think in some areas, people are just going to get a little bit of a wake up call. But I think in other areas, I mean, for sure, everywhere, I think that we are going to next year I think indefinite terms, see a big increase in the number of transactions. Let's put it that way. I think the number of transactions are going to grow for sure. I just can't say that the average sales price is going to grow. That's okay if it stays the same. Do I think it's going to drop to 2019 prices? Never. Those days are gone, guys. If it drops at all, it will be minuscule. It will be not enough to even barely make a tick, really. You can't say, wait around, it's going to really drop. That's not the case. It, maybe drops, and it's going to be home by home. Some of the overpriced homes are going to come down. That's all. I don't think an average is going to really, my own personal opinion. Again, I'm not a, economist, but that's from being in the market for so many years. That's what I think. Now, because let's take a look. That is Lake Nona on the left side. Look at Lake Nona on the east side. This is Eagle Creek, which also was well overpriced. But look at the differential here. Their new listings were way down too. They only had 35 in October, but their year to date was down also 3%. They did not have people selling their home, but their solds were also down too. Again, they had homes sitting on the market. I'm going to tell you the reason why is they were overpriced. A lot of the homes over there were overpriced. I can tell you that right now. Now, the days on market aren't bad. 26 is still good. That's a great thing. But, an average, though, is a little bit longer, 45. But still, 45 days on market. But your average sales price over there is now $723, which is up 2%. But again, it's not ridiculous because it's not skewed by, and I don't mean ridiculous, but it's not skewed by, I don't think, the Lake Nona Golf and Country Club. But if you see, people are getting a little bit more realistic overall. 98.2% of the list to sold ratio. If you price your home right, this is what this is telling you, it will sell. If you don't price your home, it will sit. And we all know that. That's really how this goes. So these are the things that when you look at that, that's what that means. Okay. Does anyone want to look at one more of these, or are we kind of getting the idea of this? You want to look at one more? Which one you want to look? Yeah.
Not rental short-term properties.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because it depends so much on the management company.
It's
And
true.
like some stats on that. Do you have any way that this could do something like my neighborhood that has more like Davenport, or I just don't
Let's see.
find, I just kind of lost.
What's a Davenport, 34747? Is that Davenport? Let's see.
33896
33896. Thank you.
or 33897.
Now, here's the thing. We can pick single family, condos, or both mixed. I'm going to pick both. It's going to separate it in the thing because that's the other part. Single families are different than the condos, and they're going to rent differently too. So let's take a look at that. Let's preview this. So Janice, where is the 33896? Is that Championsgate?
Yeah, that's the Championsgate area. Then 33897 would be kind of north 192. North 27, around 27 and 192. And then there's also 33837, which is further south.
So here's an interesting thing. Thank you so much for that. Don't you love having an expert on the line here? New listings are up, but not as significant as I would have thought, right? And I'm going to say I noticed the new listings in the beginning of the year. I'm going to say first quarter for sure. Would you agree with that, Janice? That was when the gluttony of new listings went on the market.
Yes.
And my opinion is it's because of Law 264, when the Chinese investors, I don't know if they've received the letter saying that they needed to divest their property or they just got petrified that they needed to divest because they have to divest in 2 years. But that's when we suddenly saw a huge influx, especially Chinese owned property. But as you see, year to date, 1318 compared to 1285. Not a huge difference if you think about that year to date, because I think what happened was, in my opinion, it sort of slowed down as the year went. Would you agree with that, Janice?
Yes, definitely.
But because look at October, only 94 went on the market in October this year and 156 went on the market last year. You know what I mean? So I think it's slowed down the amount of people who want to list their home now. But what's interesting is the solds. The solds cannot keep up with the amount of listing. So there's a lot of homes sitting still. And that's the difference. But I'm still surprised that the sales price hasn't dropped more. Now, this is all property types. And so this is, I would probably rather, instead of doing all property types, I'd rather separate it. Let's go back there and let's do this. What was it? 33986?
33896.
33896. Let's do single and let's do 33896 and do condos. Let's do 2 separate. Okay, preview. I'm going to break them apart. All right, so here's the single families. Let's see if it's a difference. Interesting, single families decreased. Less people put their home on the market this year for the year than last year. That's actually not really true. Look at this. This year to date, 692, 697 was last year. Huh, it's interesting. But the average sales price has gone down, which would make sense because it has been flooded. But here it's not saying it's really flooded. Now, less homes went on the market in October this year than last year, but not significantly. The average sold price again is down. Days on market 75 is really not horrible because I'm seeing people not selling. And the list to sold ratio is 97%. That's not terrible. But let's compare that to the condo because maybe it's the condos that are sitting more. I think the homes are sitting too.
Yeah.
New condos are really up. The new listings are up significantly. And look, they're really sitting. Not even like about half of them have sold. That's crazy. That's really where it is, guys. And the average sold price, though, is surprising. It's still going up. I'm shocked about that. Not significantly. But the days on market, 65, that's if they sell. 95% of 98% of list price, that's shocking. But this is it. They're not selling. They're sitting on market.
And also.
The ones that are selling are the ones that are, they're the best ones. I mean, basically
Yeah.
the buyers have got the pick of the inventory at this point.
Mm-hmm. Now, would you say it's based upon the management company?
Not necessarily. It depends on, the house itself or the condo itself, especially for the short-term rental. How well it's
Renting.
furnished. No, well, how well it's furnished and decorated, ready for rentals. And of course, yeah, definitely how well it's rented. And that could be an owner doing their own rentals. It's not necessarily by management company, I don't think. It just depends on the individual property.
Uh-huh. Interesting. Yeah, so that's a good question, Flavia. How could you showcase it better?
I mean, for the listing point, but also for buyers, I mean, to make the point, because what's your return on investment as well? Because if you have so many.
That's the problem. You have to look at each particular unit and get there. Well, community by community is different and unit by unit is different because the rate of return, especially if one person's renting it out themselves, another person's using a management company, it's a totally different beast. But I would say now is a good time to buy it for sure. There is a lot of inventory sitting.
It really is.
Honestly, if I wanted to try to sell and get investors, this is exactly, and this is why we're talking about stats, and more stats. I passed it, sorry. Too many stats. This is exactly what I'd say. This year, 626 homes listed and only 371 have sold. That means you have the pick of your choice right here, the pick of the litter, right? Pick whichever one you want. You are in the driver's seat. I mean, that's really what it's saying, isn't it?
Mhm.
So that is where, so this is the thing. It's not just that you have stats, guys. It's what stats do you pick out, right? So like, let's say I was going to use a sun stat to go along with this. This is when I would say, okay, maybe I'm going to use a pictograph. Everybody using the graphic center, which I love, to go along with this. What was that? So stats.floridarealtors.org. Has everybody used this? I love this. And you could use this. You can use it like this one's the Facebook version, or you can turn this into the advanced options. You can down here and you can turn it into the size to be for Instagram. You could do it with branding, without branding. You have all these choices here to make it whatever size you want. You could do single family, townhomes, whichever ones you want, condominiums. And look, townhomes and condos. Let's do townhomes and condos. Let's do the 33986. Let's let Angela in. We said 3. Oh, wait, did I pick the wrong zip? 33896. I did. 33. I have a problem. 33896. Davenport. Okay. Now I want to pick new listings. So now I pick which one. See, I could do square if I wanted to do it for Instagram or landscape. Let's do square for Instagram. And I could say I want to do, instead of closed sales, I want to do new listings. And I want to do sold listings.
Wholesale.
Close sales. And then I want to do average sales price. And then I would like to do days on market. Let's do active inventory. Days on market. Where's days on market? This is sunstats.floridarealtors.org. Let's see, month supply of inventory and pending inventory. Did I pick a pending inventory already? All right, and let's say apply. And here you go. See, so I can make it this way, or I could have made it long if I wanted it to do it. Isn't that great? So I say new listings. This does it for the month of September. It's a little bit behind. New listings, closed sales, the average sales price, active inventory. The active inventory is up. There's 6.5 months of supply. So you would put this out and you could say with already 58 new listings and 270 already of active inventory. If you're a buyer, this puts you in the driver's seat. You see here, I might switch this instead and put, instead of new listings first, I probably would put active inventory. So where's new listings? Let's just do dollar volume for a second. Where is active inventory? Active inventory. Let's do this and put new listings. And I'm going to put active inventory on top. Right, watch this. So you can make it go around the way you want it to. See that? And then instead of closed sales there, I'm going to do, let's do this one. Let's do this one. Closed sales. I did months of supply there. Months of supply. Closed sales. And the second one is going to be months of supply. So you make it look how you want it to look, right, guys? And then this is perfect for you to post, right? With the active inventory at 207, 6.5 months of supply, and I probably put the new listings there, right? And change the average sales price. This is what you're going to talk about. If you wanted to buy an investment, now is the perfect time. You have all the options at your fingertips, right? If you're looking for a buyer, this tells you exactly what you want to say. That's how you do it. Now, if you wanted to do a seller, now you look at this data. This is what you're using this data for, guys. You see what I'm saying? You take the stats, and if you're looking for a seller, you find the data. Now, obviously, it would not be here in Davenport because I don't know if you want to list one, right? Like maybe that's not what you're trying to find. So let's see, cancel that out. And you're going to pick one of these. Maybe you're going to look for Dr. Phillips. Let's see what's going there. So this is how we take our stats. We find something interesting, just like I do when I'm trying to find my letters, right? But we use the stats. So what can we find? Now this is 32819. What is 32819 story telling us? Well, it's saying the new listings are down. Sold listings are down. Average sales price is up. Guys, 12%. So I would do maybe one for Dr. Phillips saying, with the new listings down, the average sales price up. Now, watch this. Well, how's it better at 32836? What does 836 look like? Does that look even better? Oh, look at these numbers. Except new listings are up. Look at that. New listings are up year to date, 20% in 32836. So see, that doesn't tell the story I want to say, right? So I wouldn't want to use this one for that. Even though the average sales price is terrific, it's not telling the story I want to say. So I'm going to go back to the 32819. You see what I'm saying? Is everybody with me? See how you use the stats? And I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say 32819. And I'm going to pick that. And I'm going to go landscape this time. And I'm going to say here, average sales price. And then I'm going to use, how about, let's do median sales price. And I'm going to say new listings. I want that one. And then I'm going to say cash sales. I want to see what that looks like. Let's look at this for a second. They will not let you put more than one thing twice. Dollar volume. Let's just change that. Okay. So let's see what we got. The average, am I in condos or something? Let's see what happened here. One property. Oh, there we go. That's right. I have condos in there. That's much better. Be careful which property type you guys pick. You see that? But look, with your average sales price up, Your median sales price up, which is great. Your dollar volume, maybe I get rid of the dollar volume. Let's get rid of that dollar volume. Why is average sales price in there? Let's see, cash as a percentage of sales. Mhm. Yeah, look at that. Cash is 30% as a percentage of sales. So, and then I want new listings. Why do I have average sales price in there twice? That's weird. Why is it giving me that twice? Metric 3. Where's my metric 4? Hmm. Oh, I don't want. Oh, it's showing me dual properties. Okay. Average sales price, cash as a percentage. That's a supply. Okay, so your average sales price, your median sales price, your cash as a percentage, new listings are down, months of inventory. Maybe I changed that. But I would talk about my average sales price is up, new listings are down, and cash is 30%. If you wanted to sell your home, do you think it'd be a good time to do that? Right? I'd probably get rid of the months of supply because that doesn't speak to the story. You see what I'm saying? So maybe new pending sales. Let's go there. Apply. Does that tell me pending inventory? Let's see, new pending inventory is not super great. So see, you're trying to find the best things, median time to contract. Let's do that one. That tells your story. With only 43 days to contract, this is not a bad one. You see, now I'm talking about what would support my story about why you should sell your home. Your average sales price is up, the median sales price is up, and 30% of all sales are cash. New listings are down. If you wanted to sell your home, do you think it's a good time? That's all you need to talk about. The rest of the stuff is benign. It doesn't really do much one way or the other, right? Doesn't tell a good thing, doesn't tell a bad thing. It just is what it is. This is the way you take the stats that you read and then you can post them and make some really good impact. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you. The other thing is now let's say I wanted to find some stats to write a letter, an equity letter, right? You guys all wonder how I do that. My magic, my equity letter magic. If I'm going to do an equity letter, guys, I'm going to search by community in MLS. I cannot get that data anywhere but MLS. That data has to come out of MLS. And I'm going to look only at sold data for the entire year, right? Today is the 18th, 11/18/2024. And I'm going to say, what zip code, what community should I pick? Let's pick Eagle Creek. And it's hard to find that one. Let's pick, what community Hamlin are you looking at? Signature Lakes, 34787. Let's pick Signature Lakes. So you put a star there. Does everybody know how to do that? Signature Lakes. And why I do that? Because if you don't put a star there, people put Signature Lakes in there a billion ways. Like Eagle Creek, God knows the villages, Loria Park. They write it a ton of ways. If you put the stars, it pulls up every listing, no matter how they wrote it. Phase 1, phase 2, Sig Lake, Signature Lake. So if you put the stars, you get all of them. So this year, how many homes are in there?
That's
Must be a lot. Well, I've got a new tool to show you. Thank you to Keith. And I'm going to tell you, we'll know Florida dash fetch. Here we go. So this is a cool tool that we can find out by doing a property search. And it's, wait, is it by subdivision? Farming. I have to look at this one. Area search. Here we go. In an area search, and we're gonna say subdivision. And it's called Signature Lakes. And it's, oh, wait, hold on. 34787. And city is Winter Garden. And it's Signature Lakes. See how there's like a billion of them? Yeah, this is the problem. So you gotta type them all in. See what? See how you have all of these? This is the problem. You have a bunch here. 34B, do I have that one? Phase 2A, I don't have that one. Goodness, you've got a lot of them. Signature, do I have phase 2? 1A. I don't even know if I have them all. Geez, whizzicles. 3B, do I have that one? No. Phase 2, do I have that one? No. All right, I may have gotten them all. Get count. You have maybe 552. You may have more. That's a big community to go after, because if you're going to go after that every month, that's expensive. Just even with the stamps alone, just so you know. That makes sense, 61. And so what would turnover be, guys? Does anybody know how to figure out turnover? Okay, turnover ratio is how many homes have sold based out of how many homes there are. So you take the 61, you divide it by 552. That means 11% of that community turned. If there really is 552. I don't know if there is. There could be more. I may not have selected all those things. That's a good turnover ratio. If I'm going to farm a community, I like to farm a community that has at least 8%. So that to me tells me that community is turning, and I would farm that community. But it's 552 homes. So do you really want to be consistent in 552 homes? Because it's expensive. So yes, it's good because it's turning, but you might want to be more specific, like homes by the water. And then you have to look, is that area turning? So why do you want to look at a community that's turning? Well, there's no sense in looking at farming a community that's not turning over. Well, they'll eventually turn over, maybe. In a new home community that just built, I would say by year 4, gold. Maybe year 3. Year 2, I mean, unless you're in a really transient neighborhood, but think about it, capital gains before year 2, they're not going to sell anyway. Right? So I wouldn't even consider it until year 2, unless you're in a really transient area that you know they're going to be moving up for some reason. I mean, the Villages is perfect because they move from the little villa to the regular home, and then they move again. It's like a 3-mover. You know, that's a very unique thing.
Over 100,000 homes in the-
Yeah, you can't. There's no way. You have to be very specific, right?
Yeah.
But let's take a quick peek.
Carrie,
Yes.
there's a lot of people in the Villages that appear to not worry about capital gains as well. I've had a couple of neighbors, they just,
Oh, yeah.
it's their cost of doing business and they just sell. So my neighborhood's got some big turnover and we're only a year old and we got people just moving around like they do.
Well, you guys are a different, unique beast. I'm going to say in most communities, that's not the case. So, you know, most communities in here would not be that way.
New construction, they can't move for a year unless they give the profits back to the village.
Yes, and oh, new construction, you cannot move in a year because you have to give profits back to the villages.
Yeah.
Same thing with Laureate Park. It will cost them a fortune. They cannot move. And even when they do move after the 2 years, they still have to pay, I think it's 5% back to Laureate Park. They pay fees coming in, they pay fees coming out. So yeah, it just depends on where you are. Let's pick another community that's smaller. What is one of the ones at the Hamlin that's smaller? Anybody?
Overlook.
Overlook. That's good. Okay, so Overlook, 153 homes have sold this year. That can't be right.
Okay, so
I don't know. Let's see, results, 153 homes in a year? That seems crazy. Oh no, Tampa Overlook? What the heck is that?
look at how.
No, it shouldn't matter. Hold on.
Last
I didn't put the zip code. I'm like, something is wrong. Okay, that makes more sense. 15. Okay, I feel better. All right, so we have 15 homes. So you click on that and then you're going to hit Stats Tabular. My favorite. Because what are we looking for, guys? We are looking at the average to see the list price. So the average list price, let's say new. The average list price is this. So we're going to go here and we're going to say Overlook 2024 list price is this. And we're going to go here and we're going to say days on market are 64. Okay. Oh, no. 64. And we had how many sell? We had 15 sell. Okay. Now we're going to go back and we want to compare that to last year, right? So we go back and we want to look at the same exact time because if you compare it to the whole year, it's not really a true comparison. Does that make sense? So we leave all the same. We just go back and change this to 23. And we see they sold 19 the same period of time. But let's look at this. The average sales price is very different. Oh, we just found you a letter. So look at this, 2023. This is the average sales price. The days on market were what? 60. So a little less, we don't really care. 60, and they sold 19. So here you go, guys, though. This is huge. So we have a million, what is this? Million, 26 and 740 minus 894, 737. That is a difference of 132, which is a percentage divided by 894, 737. 15%. So that is an equity letter right there. How does that work, Carrie? Well, because now we go into equity. Equity, that's a good equity letter I just wrote for somebody. Here's one I just wrote, somebody, a Royal Legacy Estates equity letter. So let's take a quick peek. And we have to say something about, did you know the average sales price in Overlook at Hamlin rose 15% year over year? Imagine in all of, now we go back over here to Winter Park. How much did that raise? Winter Garden? Oh, I picked Winter Park. Thank you.
Yeah.
Going too fast. Going fast. Winter Garden. Yep. They were too close. All right. What did Winter Park average sales price raise? 2%. We can raise it to 3 even. So look. What is it called? Overlook at Hamlin? Save as. Put this under Felix. Where's Felix? There you are. And I'm gonna call this Overlook at Hamlin. All right. Rose 15% year over year. Imagine all of 34787 has only increased 3% year over year. That's pretty impressive. It's no wonder so many of your neighbors have sold their home in Overlook at Hamlin. It is Overlook at Hamlin, right? This year, since the average sold sales price has increased 100 and what was it? $132,000. Would you be interested to know you could potentially have blank in equity right now? If you're interested in learning how we can maximize your equity by taking your property global, call, text, or email. You guys see how I did that? Takes me 2 seconds. Do you think that would be interesting to the owner?
Absolutely.
You see how the stats are interesting to people? Stats, and more stats. But it's not about all stats. It has to be the right stats. If there wasn't a differential in between what their equity in that community was compared to the zip code, then it wouldn't be as interesting. Does that make sense? And if that community didn't have an equity increase compared to the year before, we couldn't use that one for an equity letter. And there's a lot of communities I looked at. I couldn't find one that there was an equity increase in. So this community is a good one. You're welcome, Felix. We just did our work for you. So anybody have any questions? Silent. Yes? iPhone 561? No? Okay. Well,
Sorry, can you send me, I'm sorry, I got on this late because I had an appointment for my daughter. Is there, can you send me the recording of this or is this on your YouTube?
it's
Okay.
going to be on my YouTube.
good.
Absolutely. Yes. And
Thank
Angela,
you.
we can meet and do one for you too.
Wonderful, thank you.
Guys, anybody who wants an equity letter, I'd be happy to meet with you and create one for you. Absolutely. Because it takes me an hour to help you find the community and create the letter. I'm pretty good at it. As you see, it takes me no time at all. So, all right. But then you need to be consistent. You need to send 4 letters, one every month for 4 months. If you get nothing after 4 months, switch communities. The letter must be different. The first 2 paragraphs, we have to change the stats every month. You can't send them the same letter. Has to change. We will meet and change the letter, tweak it a little bit. You have to write different things. The second thing about their equity and going global, that can stay the same. But what has to change is the first 2 sentences, the first 2 paragraphs. But we have gotten very great results from that. As a matter of fact, Walter, who I think has jumped off, but I was glad to see he was on, he got his Bella Lane listing from an equity letter. We've gotten many listings from equity letters.
Just change the, you use the same letter, you just change the introduction. for
Yes, the
each
first
month.
2 paragraphs. Each, yes. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. Once you get your list, and then I help you mail merge it too. Don't worry. If you don't know how to mail merge, I do. And once we do that, once it's mail merged, it's easy. It's just like hit and play. You just want to make sure that nobody's gone on the market so that you remove them. Okay? Can someone, Dawn, the last week of training in my marketing manager isn't on your YouTube. Yes, it isn't, Dawn, because I didn't actually record that one. That was done off of Claire's YouTube. So she would be the one who has that one. So I have to get it from her myself, but that's a good point. Yeah, so she did the My Marketing Matters training because Claire is the My Marketing Matters queen. So, but I learned a lot of things too by being on that. But yeah, so I have to get the recording from Claire. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for being on it. Looking forward to seeing you all for giving thanks at one of them or all of them. And have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Bye, hun.
Bye.